This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. The 7-month wait is down now to about 5.5 hours. Week 1 of the NFL season kicking off tonight. Thursday night football. Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys going head-to-head at Lincoln Financial Field. Can't wait to dig in as we welcome you into this Thursday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. He's Jonathan Von Tobel. I'm Stormy Buonantony. Live in downtown Las Vegas, as always, here at Circa Resort and Casino, where you can already feel it's different today coming out here. The book is a little bit more busy. It's going to be hot and heavy from here on out.
We saw our boss, Brian Musburger,
Yes.
so you know that everybody's paying attention. It gave us a subtle hint of do well or you're fired, so we're fired up and ready to go. I think maybe that was more toward me than anything else, but we are fired up. I am excited. Football is here. I do push back a little bit. We've had football for a while. We've had preseason. We had 2 weeks of college football, or 1.5 weeks, if you will, of college football, but I guess it's a little bit different when the NFL is around, so very excited and very on edge. I texted you and Brian Ortega earlier today. And this is a very good lesson for everybody out there. I had a nightmare last night in which I forgot to put our survivor pick in.
Don't you do this to us.
Boy, oh boy, I woke up in a cold sweat. It did. It freaked me out. I thought I totally messed up everything.
It happens every year. Not you, but I'm just saying, like, this is something, like, be aware, get the picks in, know the deadlines, because every single year, without fail, even week 1, it happens. And even late in the season, when there's actual tangible money that can be made, it happens.
My favorite was...
I don't like that energy to start our season, though.
Don't worry. I still like 20 reminders afterwards. Don't worry. It's why I have a string tied to my toe right now, so I won't forget. But I will say, the best story that I heard was, I think Benson told it last year, where somebody had entered the contest. It was Survivor, and then just didn't put a pick in and showed up at the end of the year, like the next season. It was like, hey, did I win anything in that sweepstakes or whatever? Like, didn't realize, I guess, what they had entered. I don't know.
They thought it was a $1,000 raffle
I
entry
guess,
or
something. I don't know.
My goodness.
There's lots of stories.
I still think from Survivor, the best story was last year, the guy who he either thought he picked the Packers or he picked... He thought he picked the Lions, but he had the Packers, and so he thought he was out, but then he wasn't, and then he goes just such a cool story to then go all the way after that. And so, we'll hopefully have lots of those stories. Maybe one will be ours where we go the distance.
Oh, okay. Then we go to the store. I thought you were talking about more stories about people.
No. Where we catch a good break. We need good bounces along the way. But, okay, we got lots to get to over the course of the next 2 hours. We will crank through as many games on the week 1 slate as we can, but some great guests on deck as well. So here's the rundown.
It's time for the top headlines and topics of the day. This is the Rundown.
So I mentioned our guests coming up in 30 minutes, 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. Brandon Cantu, professional poker player, yes, but also avid sports bettor, is going to join us in studio here at Circa. New co-host of the Fada Sports podcast crew that made its debut on set yesterday. Excited to have him join us. And then coming up in hour 2, Jeff Erickson, RotoWire betting analyst, prop talk for this first weekend of the NFL season. And, of course, tonight with it kicking off in Philly.
Yeah, the props, I'm looking forward to talking with Cantu and looking forward with Erickson as well. Very excited to get some of the player prop discussion going for later this evening. We've got some angles and we're going to have as part of our banner night tonight, but very much looking forward to seeing whether I am barking up the wrong tree or not with some of those player props.
Okay, and obviously off the top we talk about Circa Survivor, but the Circa Millions lines are out for those of you who are invested in the 5 ATS picks each week. Contest season is here, so we will break down those lines in about 15 minutes. But let's just get started here, JVT, with opening night and the line movement we've already seen in this NFC East divisional clash between the Cowboys and Eagles. Last time we saw Philly, they were dismantling the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Will they pick up where they left off? This line was 6.5, 7 all summer, and then in the last week, we obviously had the Micah Parsons trade news toggling between 8, 8.5, peaked at 9. The 9s are gone, but lots of 8.5s out there. This total as well was 47.5 this morning, 48 the prevailing number right now, and DraftKings even at 48.5.
So this is the one that the total is what I'm very curious about for a game like this. Team total for the Cowboys, game total as well. The Eagles, there have been a lot of changes for the Eagles, as we know, especially on this defense, a lot of different bodies. And I think the position I am most curious about when you're talking about its effectiveness this year is going to be their edge rushers. are you going to be able to get after the passer at such a high level, an extremely high level from that position? I think the interior pass rush is going to be very good. But when you look at the collection of edge rushers they have on this roster, I know a lot is being made, and you can talk to quite a few people about the end of the season for Jalix Hunt. He had 19 total pressures last year, Stormy. 9 of them came in the final 3 games of their postseason run. Is that actually something, or is that just a 3-game hot streak, one of which he had 5 in him, and he's not going to be able to rush the passer at a high level? If that's kind of the case, I think you can make the argument for the Cowboys in a game like this with a new-look offensive line that might be one of the weaker ones in football, being able at least to keep Dak Prescott upright, allowing him to throw to what I think all of us would agree are a talented group of receivers that have some explosiveness to them, and maybe get this game to be a little bit more higher scoring. Have the Cowboys do their part, if you will, when you're talking about scoring from that standpoint. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the football, but I do think Dak Prescott should be able to drop back and maybe do some damage through the air against the Eagles.
And so if that is true and the Cowboys defense is what I've heard, and I'm not going to do it to this full extent, but what I've heard many people compare to the NFC version of the Bengals, where you're going to have a defense that can't handle anything and you're going to need to score a lot of points in order to be able to win games, then maybe that lends toward the total as well when you look at both sides of the ball for Dallas in this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think that is going to be something where I'm kind of assuming the Eagles are going to have, a baseline of success on offense that we can expect. The question just becomes, what does this look like for Dallas? And especially if they are somewhat lopsided when you're talking about their run-pass balance, if they can't run the ball, if the Eagles are just dropping back and waiting for that. Should note, too, this is kind of more of like a hardcore thought and a big picture thing. But when you have Quinyon Mitchell and you have Cooper DeJean, 2 guys who had very strong rookie years, corner play, if you look at it statistically, can be pretty volatile in terms of year to year. You can have a pretty strong season, and you can have a pretty rough season as well. So I do wonder if, what if all of a sudden you start to see that slight downtick when you're talking about some of the cornerback play for the Eagles too?
Well, you see that downtick, and then also you don't have Darius Slay anymore.
Yeah,
you don't have C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So put all that together, could be something that they take advantage of. What do you think about the addition of George Pickens and Dak Prescott really having that true number 2 next to CeeDee Lamb that he hasn't had in recent years?
I mean, I think it can't be, well, I shouldn't say it can't be bad, because we know not the off-the-field stuff, because that implies, legal issues, but just the nature of what it means for the locker room if you have, some big personalities in there, we'll say. But I think at the end of the day, you have a quarterback that is well above average in the NFL, and you've got 2 receivers that are pretty explosive in their own right with whatever they do. That can't be a bad thing.
So, with him personality-wise, I feel like there's no in-between. Yeah. It's either going to really work or it's going to really not, and we'll find out not until probably midway through the season, depending on his touches.
You have a lifetime coordinator, as he has been called by his owner, which is their new head coach. I think there's going to be something here. I think you're right, this defense might be pretty bad. I am going to be curious, this interior of the offensive line for Philadelphia and how it matches up with, I guess we'll call it the Cowboys interior is now a little bit stronger with Kenny Clark there now in the middle, and what that looks like for Saquon Barkley. That's obviously very fascinating. Barkley, as you know, I've kind of not touted but said I have some doubts as to what this is going to look like for him coming into this year. Would very much lean toward under his rushing total for the season, just because, again, when you look across the board at career highs in almost every single metric, from yards per carry after contact all the way through to carries, all those sort of things. So I wonder what that's going to look like, too. For the Dallas Cowboys, are they going to be able to stop this running game? You could argue the weakest position for the Eagles is right guard, and that's really just splitting hairs at this point right now. So what that looks like for Saquon Barkley, who I think has a lot of indicators that it's going to be, and it's hard to be any better than when you were last year, but a year that is down considering what he was doing last year.
Yeah, and Barkley, by the way, for that season-long prop, has seen that number come down a little bit, but 1,425.5 is the number, the over to plus 110 where it sits. But just basically the general concept that this is a guy who rushed for more than 2,000 yards last year, something that very few people ever have done in the National Football League, and now seeing if you can, how much of that you can duplicate and stay healthy and all of those things. Speaking of the offensive line, I know we talked earlier this week about Landon Dickerson dealing with a little bit of a back issue, but he's been a full participant for the last couple days. Should be good to go on that front. When it comes to survivor thoughts on Philadelphia in this spot, because I know a lot of people want to save them because they are playing on that Friday night game for, what's it called? Black Friday.
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving week. So people might want to save them. They're also one of the higher rated, power rated teams in the league. So you might want to find opportunities to use them down the line. But also here at Circa, you do have that availability to rebuy in should you, on the off chance, lose tonight.
Yeah, and look, they're going to be a very highly rated team, and there's going to be different opportunities to use them. The question just becomes, like, your next opportunity where you're going to feel, I think, the most comfortable would probably be at home against the New York Giants Week 8. You have the Chicago Bears at home coming up in Week 13. I say coming up like it's around the corner. You get the Raiders in Week 15. Those are going to be those instances where you look and circle, all right, these are really the biggest spots where you're talking about them being the biggest favorites. Having said that, like you said, you want them available for that Chicago game, as I mentioned, potentially. But I think this is probably one where you'd feel comfortable potentially burning them, especially if you're in a situation like in a survivor pool where it's not like this one that doesn't use the 2
as
extra
a standalone
weeks.
week.
Correct. So I think you'd be more bullish to do it. And as I always say when we talk about survivor, the way you approach it is different when you have the opportunity to buy back in as opposed to not. So I think this is going to be not a somewhat popular play. There's going to be plenty of people who use them this week to see if that's going to be the case and then buy back in. But I don't think it's going to be anything that in any sort of survivor pool that I'm in, I would think about using.
My dad used it for one of ours.
Yeah?
That was his put the fist down decision.
I'm doing
today.
this. Yeah.
And worth noting, by the way, for anybody who does use the Eagles today or you're using the Thursday night game and you might lose and have the opportunity to buy in, your proxy cannot do that for you if you're not here. So just worth noting that you have to be the one that's physically here to rebuy back in. For however many entries you lose, you are able to rebuy in for them. So, for example, if you had 10, you used 3 on the Eagles, they lost today, you can get 3 back.
Well, Mr. B's buying back in, though, right?
We better not lose. He better not lose, but that was his decision for week 1. So we got one on the Eagles tonight. Prayers up. Okay, we got to step aside. Tweet at us if you want to join in the conversation. At me, JVT, at Storm Buonantony. Looking at those Circa millions lines coming back from break.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're here. Day 1 of the NFL season is upon us in just a few hours. Cowboys, Eagles. It is also the first time this season that we will have Circa Sports million contest lines out, just dropping about a half an hour ago, and we're going to go through those in a moment. Did want to wrap up our conversation from last segment real quickly with just a couple more little nuggets that we didn't get to. Since 2001, fun fact for you, reigning Super Bowl champs, 14-7-3 ATS in week 1, 19-5 outright. You know, there's always all that talk about the Super Bowl hangover. It does not appear to happen out the gates in week 1. And the Eagles last year, 5-1 against the spread against division opponents, second highest cover percentage of all games last season. Only the Chargers were better, 6-0 ATS covering the number. So just a couple nuggets to keep in mind for you.
Is there anything on running backs making their debut for their new team? Because I think Saquon Barkley, according to our rundown from our wonderful producer, Brian Ortega, who totally didn't just ask ChatGPT to throw something together for the Open today.
So just give me a couple nuggets on the preview for the opening game of the NFL season. New addition Saquon Barkley. Wow.
Right.
It's just like that one day when I was looking for, the last quarterback to win NFL MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. How many times has this happened, XYZ? And like, what wide receiver did it give me?
It gave you Todd Gurley as a quarterback.
Todd Gurley. Great. So this is, again, you cannot trust AI people. You got to read stuff. Do your own due diligence. That said, Circa million lines out as you went through. Were there any numbers that maybe surprised you that we had the hook, we didn't have the hook, where we landed on some of these?
Yeah, you hit it on the head with what you kind of look for first, which is, all right, these games that are floating around, the key numbers, what did they give us? So the games that are there, Chiefs and Chargers, not surprising, gave you 3. Circa did for that. That's been sitting at 3 for a while. I don't think it's really going to move with maybe some altered juice. Steelers and Jets sitting at 3. I would say that's a mild surprise. Maybe not like a super surprise, but more of one of those like, huh. It's 2.5 minus 120 at a lot of spots. Here at Circa, it's 3 shaded to the dog side. So not the biggest surprise in the world that you like, or excuse me, that you get the full 3 there. Let's see, what else was there?
We did not get the hook on Bengals-Browns, so that one's notable. That's a flat 5.
Yeah, flat 5 there. Raiders and Patriots, 2.5. That makes sense, right? It was sitting at 3 all offseason. We've seen the market coming in favor of the Raiders. Cardinals Saints. This is one you and I have discussed for a while. The market has been pretty staunch in saying, no, we're not going to put 7 out there. We're not going to lay 6.5. So that is your contest number. I know that's a side that you like as well. And 49ers Seahawks, we mentioned that. Lions Packers, 2.5. I don't think there was any surprise there. Neither of those really got to 3 at any point. We're ever going to get to 3. So those are the ones that at least stuck out when you're looking at where are we at, what are we going to get here. So with that, now we just have to decide what we're going to do.
Ravens-Bills also at the 1,
yes,
by
Ravens
the way, instead of the 1.5. So I guess that's one extra one on Sunday Night Football we have there. Yeah, so now what are we going to do? So, I mean, it's no secret that I've had the Cardinals minus 6.5 in pocket already as a bet that I've made here. I've talked a lot about.
Open up my handy-dandy spreadsheet here.
Spencer Rattler last year, 0-6, stepping in for Derek Carr. Your backup at the quarterback position is a rookie who couldn't win the job. Yes, there's some skill position talent there, but offensive line could be a concern. Your best players on defense are in their mid-30s, and I do like buying in on the Cardinals early, especially with all of the changes they made on defense, seemingly being positive with what Jonathan Gannon has put together there. So I do like the Cardinals laying 6.5. That'll be my first suggestion to you if you're interested.
I find it funny. Yes, that's fine. I am interested. We can use it. This is a team effort, so I've already put it in the spreadsheet. That'll be one of our 5. I do find it funny that of the two of us, and even in our futures draft, you have very much expressed doubt about the Arizona Cardinals, and yet our future will be very much tied to Arizona coming week 1 with Survivor and a Millions plan.
My doubt about the Cardinals has nothing to do with week 1. It's about big picture.
Yeah.
Okay, because
that's kind of funny. That's all.
Sure, and I think that's valid.
Don't start yelling at me like you did with the Bucks. Yeah.
I just don't think that's a team that's going to be built for longevity. I genuinely don't. And I think in the division, they're going to have some tough tests. A lot of people think that they could be up and coming, and maybe that's true. I just don't see that long term. But for week 1, and this is very opponent based, I would say as well, taking on the New Orleans Saints.
I think that we're probably in agreement with the Panthers, correct?
Yes, especially since you're getting the half point in Jacksonville. So I would like to go Carolina there.
Okay, so now we need to decide on 3 others. I will say, let me ask you this.
I do have a prop on that game as well that we're going to touch on a little bit later. But,
okay.
I'll give you a clue. Jags pass defense. Not good.
Okay, all right. Looking forward to that. Let me ask you this as you think about maybe some others. What would you say is probably the most selected side here in week 1, or a gauge at what the top 5 consensus might look like? Because you can, as the season goes along, you can kind of get a guess at what the top 5 is going to look like each and every week. But for week 1, everybody comes in with all these fresh new opinions, don't really know what's going to happen. And because these numbers have been beat to death, there is no outlier stale number that you can really jump on and say, cool, I'm grabbing that, and I'll have a little bit of an edge on the market.
Yeah, this is interesting, especially because, as I've noted to you ad nauseum, I hate week 1. Just the numbers, how tight everything is, too, and how short some of these spreads are. There weren't many games that truly stood out to me from that standpoint. I could see people really liking the Seahawks at home plus 2.5 against San Francisco, but I don't know if that'll be number 1. But I could see that being like a top 5. A top 5, yeah.
I will submit as one of our 5, as we have discussed this, the Raiders plus 2.5 against the New England Patriots as a potential option. The Ravens as 1-point favorites against the Buffalo Bills. The Colts in a pick'em spot against the Dolphins. Those are 3, and actually the Seahawks were on my list of teams to consider as well.
I like the Colts. I think we've been on the same page with that one. We're very anti-Dolphins on the show. I don't think that's a big surprise.
Tell you what, you want a look ahead to some of the prop stuff. Josh Downs is going to eat, I believe, this week. Well, yeah, buddy.
What do you think about the Giants and Commanders? Giants getting 6. So if we talk about this Giants defense being legit, it is our first look with Russell Wilson. And if you think the Commanders could potentially not have as much success.
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have the Giants if that's what you're getting at.
Okay, just curious.
I'm smelling what you're stepping in.
Just curious.
Yeah. Out of everything else, so we've got 3. We've got Cardinals minus 6.5, Panthers plus 3.5, and the Colts at pick. That is 3 of our 5. You need 2 more. You got to really think about this here. I will say I am very much looking forward to what the market, and actually I shouldn't say the market, the contest is going to do with Bucs Falcons. We're going to talk a lot about these games as we are moving on, because the other part about this is with so many people in the pot, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and go, oh, look at all these 2.5-point favorites. I'm getting under a key number. Let's do this. Let's lay Packers minus 2.5. Let's lay 49ers minus 2.5. Let's lay Bucs minus 2. Bucs are aside. Big picture, I'm still in. But that injury report.
I don't like that for this week. Yeah.
No, that injury report did not look good for Tampa Bay this week.
Plus, I know both teams are missing a key offensive lineman, but I don't like that for Tampa right out the gates. And this series has been tricky for Tampa Bay. And you remember, like, Kirk Cousins lighting it up in that matchup early in the season, like 500 yards or something like that he had. And I don't know what you think about Michael Penix, but I think a lot of people think he's better than Kirk Cousins. That's why he's got the starting job. So do with that what you will. I'm curious your thoughts on the Bengals, because we're obviously getting the flat 5 now, and the Bengals I don't think are going to be a team a lot of people are interested in because of what happened last year at the beginning of the season and the way that they are 1-11 the first 2 weeks under Zach Taylor, obviously even with Joe Burrow 1-9 in those spots.
If we're using the Bengals with the thought of it being not many people are going to use it, I don't really care about that early on. I think in the early portion of a contest where there's, how many weeks we have? 18. Week 1, you don't have to do the game theory thing of, hey, there's not going to be that many people on it. I think when I said this to you before the show started, I consider this the rip the Band-Aid week. Let's just play our opinions and let's see what happens, and let's see if we can get out of here with a 3-2 in a week in which we're going to learn a lot. Even though it's only going to be one data point for every single one of these teams, we're going to learn a lot about every single one of these teams.
Okay.
I will officially, though, push for the Baltimore Ravens -1.
Oh, why? You need to sell me on it a little bit more, because especially with Buffalo being at home Sunday night, prime time, both quarterbacks, lots to prove. I do think it'll be a close game, but why do you like the Ravens as the edge?
I think so. First off, they are clearly the better team. I agree with the market pushing it in this direction. As somebody who is not very strong on, hey, home field, oh my God, what's that going to look like? You have Tre'Davious White is a little beat up. You have some injuries along the defensive line, especially along the interior for Buffalo that might matter a little bit here. But I just think that Baltimore and what they're able to do from a run game standpoint, there is an edge there that we saw in the regular season, not so much in the postseason, but even then they're in position to potentially win that game. I just think Baltimore is the much better team. I thought this was a 2.5 as opposed to just 1.
So that's a wait-and-see game for me, but if you're that staunch about it, I'm fine with it. And then I would be between the Raiders and Seahawks for the final pick.
It's your choice. It's all on you. All on you.
I keep on reading how the Raiders are like a legit organization all of a sudden under Pete Carroll. Should we be buying this?
I mean, you could say that, but then the report just came down 20 minutes ago that Amari Cooper was like, nah, I don't want to play here, and actually retired. So. Well,
I am a 49ers fan, and I don't want to actively root against San Francisco if I can help it in week 1 on the road.
Oh, come on, put it aside. We're going to be firing against the Colts all year long.
Is that like the emotional hedge or whatever? Remember, everybody, by the way, with the NFL being back, there's still time to get ready and bet smarter. Get the lowdown on all of these schedules, in-season totals, all of that. Best bets last minute ahead of Sunday. The VSiN NFL Betting Guide 2.0 is available with all of the post-preseason updates, injuries to know, proven betting systems, contest strategies, host best bets, and beyond. You can also pair it with the College Football Betting Guide that's out now as well. VSiN.com/subscribe. $9.99 your first 30 days, or you can join us on an annual plan. Again, VSIN.com/subscribe. We're going to step aside. More NFL talk with Brandon Cantu when we come back. Don't go anywhere. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Everybody on this Thursday edition of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. SiriusXM, Channel 158, Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, getting you set for all things Week 1. Kicking off tonight, Thursday Night Football, Cowboys and Eagles. And to help us break down not only this game, but a lot of NFL talk, futures as well, Brandon Cantu joins us here in studio at Circa, professional poker player, 2-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner, over $5 million in tournament earnings, and 1/4 of the new Fade Us Sports podcast here on VSiN. Welcome in.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it. This is awesome. And you were on the desk last night getting comfortable already.
Yes, first time under the bright lights in this studio, at least. It was a good time. I think everything went very well for our first podcast.
All right, so tell everybody, Fade Us Sports Pod, what are they in store for now that you're part of the VSiN Podcast Network?
Well, kind of how our podcast kind of came together is we have it's all a bunch of professional poker players. One's a NASCAR driver, but we like to come in and give our picks. And our text thread was starting to get pretty popular, very heated, very emotional, as friends do. Lots of betting between us. So we're like, this would actually make a good podcast. And that's kind of how it became. And so there's just a lot of going at each other, like with very strong opinions on what we think is right about these games. And so it's a funny podcast. It's good. It's gives you what we kind of look as our insights to the game.
Yeah, Rob Moreno, one of our associate producers back there. Sorry, Rob, I always forget your official title. Came in and was like, "Yeah, I had to bleep out a mother effer already, and we got to go through it." So
said they were cracking up behind the control room the whole time.
That's good. I love to hear that. So
yeah, definitely feels like there's a lot of characters. I am curious. Obviously, you guys all know each other so well. Who does the most needling? Like, who's always pushing somebody to make the next bigger bet?
I don't know if it's the next bigger bet, but we have Mattisau, whose nickname is the Mouth, just telling us we're all such idiots on every single thing we say. So it's kind of fun because he's really the idiot, you know. So it's just funny coming from him.
It's pretty much our dynamic. I talk a lot, and then usually I'm more wrong than Stormy is. So, but we don't have to do that. All right, so let's talk a little football then. Tonight, the NFL season gets started. The Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. We were all just kind of crying in our soup a little bit here right before it started. This is a pro Cowboys desk, and strengthened by one, as you were pro Cowboy heading into the year, right?
Correct. I didn't know there was that many of us.
Yeah, right. There's dozens of us if you've seen the Arrested Development reference.
Right.
So what do you think? Before we get into tonight, Micah Parsons is gone. How do you feel now with this position? You can't feel as good, but can they still get there over their win total?
Well, it's funny. I bet the win total over 7.5, and I lost like 40 or 50 cents of value in like hours, like right after I bet it. So I'm a dog on winning my season over totals bet, but I still like it as far as tonight. I think Dallas is. I think they're going to bring it. Mike we talked about it on our show last night. This kind of feels like Dallas' Super Bowl. I know that's really funny to say. It's week one, game one. Like, I feel like they know they're not going far in the playoffs. That is, for once, they're not hyped to do a lot. I think they're going to be ready tonight. And the Super Bowl hangover, I think, is real. I think the Eagles, you're going to feel that.
What was that feeling for you, though? Because I know you referenced it, that within a couple hours, obviously, that number changed. That you made that season-long futures bet hours before the Micah Parsons trade. Like, the fact that all came together within a couple hours for you.
I just laughed. I mean, sometimes you laugh. Like, it's out of your control. Things happen when you make bets. This happens all the time. Or a major quarterback injury happens or whatever right after. So whatever, you can't win them all. You could still win, but it's definitely an underdog.
All right, so Stormy's a 49ers fan. We're actually debating. We have a final selection to make. We're in the millions together for the show. And I think the Seahawks might be a pretty live dog here this coming weekend against San Francisco. What do you make of Seattle?
This is a very unknown team.
Yeah.
I like them. I kind of like paying $30 million for a quarterback, getting the discount, not paying $47 million for a defender a year. This is a bargain quarterback. The defense is much more put together with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think it's still going to be a big play offense, and I think they're going to balance a lot on the run. I think it's going to be a lot of Kenneth Walker and ground and pound with him and Charbonnet. And if they go through that and they don't take chances, like, I don't want them actually throwing big plays. I want them just ground and pound. I think they win the game outright. And
they are at home. It's one of those things, too, with this Seattle team in particular, where I was saying off air to you, I feel like there's two schools of thought. If people think Seattle's going to be really bad, or they think, hey, Sam Darnold might be actually what he was for 15 games last season, and that's going to be a big boost for just running and coordinating this offense. And to your point, facilitating the run game with a couple good pieces. Plus, what could Cooper Kupp be? Is he washed, or is he still the caliber of talent that can make some big plays?
That I'm not sure. But I know, like, I'm supposed to come in like this expert. I think he has a lot left in. A lot left in the tank, but I'm not banking on Cooper Kupp as much as I am on the. I don't think he needs to be that big play guy. Just grab some balls, like three or four catches, and I think would be good.
Well, I think we talked about this I think a month ago. I brought this up. Torrey Horton over there might be pretty good. The kid they got out of Colorado State, he's a rookie wide receiver, very highly touted kid that was supposed to be a little bit higher, got injured in his last year at Colorado State. If he breaks out too, like, they're going to have some complement of weapons. There's going to be a ton over there.
Yeah, and with Sam Darnold, all he needs to do is be like Alex Smith of his day, right? So, I think all these pieces, just get a few catches. Right? So that's all you got to get, and just ground and pound.
Jets Steelers is another game I know was on your radar this weekend. You got the debut of Aaron Rodgers as a Steeler, taking on the team that just walked away from him. How do you view this one?
And last thing on that, Fields just walked away from the Steelers. Or, well, I don't know about walked away, but that might be a little nice.
Shoved
but
them,
yeah, shoved away.
On both sides.
This game is, you want to talk about drama. This is all the drama. This is popcorn. I think the Steelers are just going to absolutely blow them out. Have the Jets ever done anything? Have they ever caught off to hot starts? I mean, not often, and I think it's more of a franchise problem.
Do we get 38.5 points from them? What are these offenses going to do?
I think this is a 27-3, 27-7 type of game. I think, I know everybody's like, oh, the Jets are back. I don't feel good with Justin Fields, in a first game. I think Aaron Rodgers comes to play today.
You think big picture, you buying into Rodgers over there in Pittsburgh with Tomlin?
I do because I think they're going to make him a ground and pound, what they didn't like of Russell Wilson.
Sure.
I think they're going to get him ground and pound. Rodgers, I don't think has to do a lot. Let the big play defense make some plays. This isn't like in his Packers days. So.
Sure.
Brandon Cantu, Feta Sports Podcast, professional poker player, joining us here in studio at Circa. Are you in Survivor, and are you going to enter Grandissimo? Where are we sitting on this?
I have a group I'm trying to get just a small piece of for the Grandissimo, but it'd be fun to get like 4 or 5 people. I've been working on it with a couple of friends, so I don't know if I'm going to be in, but I'm trying to get in.
We're supposed to talk you into it, so we got to make this happen.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
So when the Grandissimo first got announced, we heard a lot of immediately like, oh, a lot of these poker guys are going to be really interested in it. What is it about the Grandissimo that ties into some of you guys playing poker that is attractive to you to enter? Is it just the big pot, let's go, let's see if we can get this?
Well, I think it's the game theory of. I think it's the game theory. This is on so much of a different level than just sports. This is about getting into like analytics and the number, and the Grandissimo in particular. It's so different than the Survivor. What is it? 14,000 or 10,000 players or whatever.
16,000 right now.
16,000 players. I mean, that's a needle in a haystack trying to hit a big score. This is a completely different strategy where you're actually going to take a lot of the big favorites a lot of the time. You're not going to sit there and take these crazy shots like Jaguars in week 1, or something.
You can be more chalky, yeah.
You can be more chalky, but not too chalky, right? You know what I mean? It's a completely different strategy than home run picks, getting crazy with it.
Right.
Yeah, the numbers we're at right now, 16,245 in the regular $1,000 entry Survivor, 56 Grandissimo, which even that was more than I know Mike Palm and Derek Stevens had initially thought there would be. Do you think we'll get another influx of where do you think that we might land with some of these guys coming into town?
Man, I would think you're getting a couple thousand more. I haven't entered yet, so I'm going to put in a few, at least a few, into the 1K Survivor. I'm a wait till the last minute guy. I've already done hundreds of picks on Splash Sports. We have a sponsorship with them, and so did lots of picks where I was getting real cute on some of them, taking Jacksonville.
Sure, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Who do you like in week 1 for that play?
So far, I'm going to take some Pittsburgh in these deeper ones.
Okay.
I'm going to take some Pittsburgh. I'm going to take some Jacksonville. I'm going to take, and I have the Broncos. Those are my 3. Yep. Those are my 3. Spread them out picks.
Sure.
Broncos are, I feel
favorite.
like, see your favorite. Now, do we need to go to the Broncos?
No, we're going to use the Cardinals. We're going to use the Cardinals. But the Broncos, I keep telling her, there is no worse situation you could really prepare for anybody than a rookie quarterback going up to Denver to play the best defense in the NFL. So
yeah.
On our way out, real quickly, the Feta Sports Podcast, how often are these going to be coming out? How can people find it?
We're available on every podcast. We'll be on VSiN. It'll be on Wednesdays. We don't have the exact time slot yet, but Wednesdays you will find us.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Cool.
Every Wednesday, look out for the Feta Sports Podcast, Brandon Cantu and the whole crew. We're going to step aside here on Money Moves when we come back, diving deeper into this Thursday night football game, banner night or not, from a prop perspective for a handful of players. We'll be right back.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
As the official horse racing partner of VSiN, First Bet is built for bettors who demand more. First Bet isn't just about placing a bet, it's about helping bettors of all levels with proprietary AI handicapping tools that provide data-driven insights and help you make smarter bets. First Bet's in-app tools give you win, place, and show probabilities for each runner so you can quickly and easily identify good value plays and improve your ROI. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time $250 sign-up offer. To claim your bonus, use promo code VSiN250 when you sign up in the First Bet app or at firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com. Promo code VSiN250. Had a little dyslexia there for a second. It happens. It happens every now and then. JVT, Stormy, Buonantony with you back here on Money Moves. I was shocked when we had Brandon Cantu on last segment. You did not lead the conversation with your video poker addiction. That is the perfect person to discuss it with.
I mean, addiction might be strong, but
you do it often. You'll just be hanging out before the show sometimes.
I do. That's my new Twitter, Avi, as the kids say. Kelly Bidlin decided to sneak a picture of me through the glass here, playing a little video poker.
So good.
2 Fridays ago or so. Look, man, when your hands itch, You got to see what's going on.
You got to do what you got to do.
I also sent out a picture over the weekend as well, which I was begging for some sort of good luck, and that did not transpire either.
No. Apologies.
Yeah.
Get them next time. You're going to keep it going.
Yes, the wording was, please send me the luck. It's been so long. And then I followed it up with, this didn't help.
Well, maybe the luck that has been drained from your video poker, we can push forward into the start of the NFL season, because you do have Thursday night football that's coming up tonight. So you get all the bad juju out of your system on video poker, get the positive stuff for the apps and for the bets. Cowboys, Eagles obviously going head-to-head tonight. It's banner night for the Eagles, although don't call Philadelphia the defending champs. They do not like that. It's all about this year. Yeah. They're not going to be out there when they see the banner. But we thought it would be fun to do a little prop-focused segment, and we're going to call it Banner Night or Not for a handful of these players in different props. And so let's start with the Eagles quarterback. Why don't we? Jalen Hurts, his passing yards prop set at 216.5, touchdowns over under 1.5, under juice minus 148, the interception prop over plus 141, under minus 181. Jalen Hurts, what do we think? Banner day or not? How's he going to perform?
I mean, I think he's going to perform well. The question is, how do you think this game is going to go? Do you think that the Eagles are going to come out there and be able to command the line of scrimmage, run the ball down the throat of the Dallas Cowboys, build a big lead, and need to do nothing through the air? Because I could see that situation unfolding and say, yeah, I think this game could go under. As somebody who, though, believes that the Cowboys do have something in their back pocket for what they're going to do here offensively, I think you're going to ask Jalen Hurts to throw the ball a little bit more. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a shootout than people think. I think the Cowboys might push Philly a little bit more than the initial thought is. So I guess you could see I'm making the roundabout case here for over 214.5 passing yards. I think you're going to need more from Jalen Hurts. I don't think you're just going to be able to use a soccer term, park the bus, right? Build a lead and then just sit back, run the ball, and have to do nothing from a passing game standpoint.
This is on the way up because I'm seeing mostly 216.5s around there. But conceptually, you look at having Saquon Barkley and what's been a run-heavy offense in the past against a defense that has really struggled to stop the run. But will that be different now? Jerry says it is. He's got guys, right? He's got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. If he is going through the air, there's definitely some really good pass catchers for Dak. So I wanted to know your thought on Dak because we were talking about a potential advantage with this Eagles secondary and him throwing the ball around. 248.5, 249.5, what I'm seeing here. I was actually more interested in the attempts than anything else. 36.5 attempts.
That's weird.
Why is that weird?
Because that was the one that I was looking at,
really?
too. Yeah, we're spending too much time together.
Oh, no.
No, because I would agree. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball effectively. That's my biggest question for Dallas. When you look at, just evaluate their running backs, pure and simple, it doesn't really look like a great collection of running backs. The offensive line is new in some spots. You just don't know what you're going to get from them from a run blocking standpoint. And I think you're going to have to, for lack of a better term, keep up with Philadelphia because Philadelphia is a good offensive team. And going back to what we opened up with, if I'm right in at least thinking, edge rusher, maybe it's not as strong as it was the season prior for Philadelphia. Maybe Jalix Hunt isn't going to be this pass rushing dynamo that he was to end the year in the last 3 games. Again, over 350 snaps for Hunt in the regular season and postseason. Just 19 total pressures, 9 of which came in the final 3 games. That's not really a great profile for a pass rusher. Josh Uche among some other guys there. So now, if you look at it from that standpoint, well, maybe he's kept upright a little bit more often or not pressured as often. You're not really running the ball, so you have to rely on Dak. You've got these 2 new pass catchers. Why wouldn't you try to toss this thing around the yard and see what you got here with Dak Prescott? So that's why I thought total pass attempts, I think that might be something to look at.
Well, and so I was looking at attempts instead of yards because I got scared off of something. I heard, I was listening to this like Cowboys podcast, and they were talking about Dak's always bad in week 1. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I looked back at the last couple years. Last year against Cleveland, 59% completions, 179 pass yards, 1 touchdown. 2023 against the Giants, 54% completions, 143 yards, no touchdowns. 2022 hosting the Bucks, 48% completions, no touchdowns and a pick. But the attempts were there. Like there's volume. And especially for all of the reasons that you have already mentioned, is like maybe I just don't want to do yards because of what we've seen, but I do think we could have more of a potential shootout type of a situation, and the volume, especially with like Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are the guys in your backfield. How much are you trusting that?
Yeah, and we kind of have 2 outs there in the sense of the way the game goes. If they get smoked, well, he's probably going to be throwing the ball because he can try to get back into a lead, and if it's this somewhat shootout-esque type game that maybe we expect. And by the way, the market does too, right? We talked about this in the open. It's up to 48 at some spots, 48.5 over at DraftKings. So if that is the case, there's a couple of outs for us here if he's going to go over pass attempts. So
if Jalen Hurts is throwing the ball a little bit more than people might expect, what does that do for you on the Saquon Barkley number? Banner night or not for him, rush prop anywhere from 93.5 to 95.5. The attempts at 19.5. Longest rush, 20.5 yards. His first quarter rushing, 20.5 yards.
First quarter?
Yep.
Man. So I am going to be of the mindset that I'm going to lean under on a lot of Barkley stuff as we move forward. Again, going back to what we thought, and this is generally the case for these big name players. So I was going to, a heads up for Brian Ortega. One of the things that I was going to talk about tomorrow and really dive into was some of these individual defensive players like total tackle markets, because I think that's where you kind of want to look. We don't want to look at some of these big names. So leading back to the original point here, I think you want to go under on a lot of these just because, or lean under at least. I just think most of the time when you're a big name like Barkley, you're going to be overinflated more often than not.
Have you seen his anytime touchdown prop?
I'm assuming, let me guess. Plus 125.
Minus 180, minus 190.
Well, I'm an idiot. That was, minus 180. I'm an idiot. Of course it was that.
He's plus 270 for 2+ touchdowns, 4-1 to be the first scorer.
He's plus 170 for 2+?
Plus 270.
Oh, okay.
But I'll tell you, fun fact about Saquon going through the game logs from last year. Of the 11 games he scored at least one regular season touchdown in, regular season or postseason touchdown in, only 3 was it a single score. The other 8 games he had multiple touchdowns.
Okay.
So that did happen more often than not that he had multiple scores. First touchdown again, 4-1, 2+ touchdowns, plus 270, anytime touchdown, minus 190, the prevailing number there. I do have an anytime touchdown bet in this game.
What do you got?
We talked about it yesterday, Devonta Smith.
Oh, okay, yes.
Plus 185.
I wasn't here yesterday.
Seen all the... You weren't? Where were you? That's interesting. Seen all the reports about him being a very featured guy in this offense. Led the Eagles in touchdowns last year with 8 and 13 regular season games. Favorable matchup, I think, in the Cowboys secondary.
Yep.
Could draw some Trayvon Diggs with the expectation of him playing coming off of the injury. Scored a touchdown in each of his last 3 meetings with Dallas as well at home. So I'm going to roll with Devonta Smith, plus 185.
So here's the question for you. As we know, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I have a follow-up. If you look in this first touchdown scorer market, because I know we do like touchdowns and looking at that, I mean, if the Cowboys get the ball first and they have a nice drive, there's a lot of good plus money numbers for Dallas players if you're interested. You can get CeeDee Lamb for a first touchdown, 12-1.
Sure. Okay.
So just food for thought. Like, we don't know how that's going to play out.
So to that point of the 2 pass catchers, what I think is going to be interesting is this dynamic in the secondary for Philly. We know about as I love, the very good nickname, Quinyanamo because it's a very good corner nickname. That's great. As well as Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean is a slot corner. He's not going to line up outside. It is Adoree Jackson who is going to play corner outside. So as the number 2 corner, matching up more often than George Pickens, should we be leaning more towards some George Pickens stuff here in this game? Adoree Jackson, for those who don't know, for the Giants last year in 426 snaps, a PFF coverage grade of 64.5. In fact, each of the last 2 years, he's been a very low-rated corner by coverage standards. This could be to use the term, banner night for George Pickens.
56.5, the number. Receptions number 4.5. And if you want an anytime touchdown, plus 220. First touchdown, 17-1.
That's my thought. It was the two angles I was looking for were some pass attempts for Dak Prescott and some George Pickens, some positive George Pickens stuff tonight. I think he could have a big game.
The over 4.5 receptions is plus 125. Is that the way you
wait till
lean,
best
maybe?
bets.
Volume? Okay. On that note, we're going to step aside. Coming back here, continuing to go through the Week 1 NFL slate. We focused a lot here on Thursday Night Football, and we will continue to. But some other games worth a look, leans on sides and totals for Week 1 coming up next.